Hello, happy Saturday, YouTube, knife community, gun community, toy community, comic book community. I'm here to talk about all that stuff. The weapon I want to review today, or talk about today, not really review, is this the sword from Heavy Metal 2000 that Julie used. Um, if you're not familiar with it, Julie, she's like this. If you ever seen like the first Heavy Metal, it kind of rips off of the concept of Tarna. Basically, like she's from this planet. This is who she's supposed to look like. This is actually what the poster that the sword actually came with. You can see it right there. Um, it's kind of a basic revenge story. She's really just meant to be like eye candy, you know. It's basically TNA, fantasy TNA, but nothing wrong with that. I love that stuff. I mean, a person in my last video when I was talking about the grease gun mentioned my T-shirt Vampirella, so I love that type of stuff. You know, I even got the Vampirella tattoo and everything. So, and since her character reminds me so much of Vampirella, obviously, you know, I watched the movie, and for as bad as it kind of is, I still love it, you know. There's something about just being able to see sexy, drawn, you know, animated women, not anime, but animated women, you know, in you know, kind of that domestic American style, basically. Going back to, you know, animated adventures, Batman and Superman and stuff back in the 90s. That's the type of animation that the Heavy Metal 2000 film has. But anyways, let's go on to talking about this. I love this thing. I use it as a wall hanger. I don't think I would ever really consider this as a weapon. I have another blade for that, which is this, the Cold Steel Frontier Bowie. This is what I would use as a weapon. The thing about like swords is that, like, even though swords have a lot more advantages than knives, even over large knives and stuff, the problem is that nobody takes them seriously. You know, especially in the modern day. You know, I just want to do this cross swords thing. I love this. I love the imagery of cross swords and cross pistols. But like for some reason people take this seriously, despite it being more sword like than knife like, but people want to take something like this seriously, even though you can do a lot more with this. So, and the interesting thing too is this sort of has a concept behind it sort of similar to a Bowie. Like, it's got like a bunch of different amalgamations of of blades throughout history, you know, that you can see. Like the D guard is really more reminiscent of like a cutlass, you know, and the tip even is kind of like a mixture between like a Bowie, a cutlass, and a traditional katana, I would even say. So, because if you look at that tip, it's more like a traditional katana. It's, even though it is Bowie like because of this bar, this parrying bar, and I think I know what this parrying bar is supposed to be. It's supposed to be where, like, let's say you're getting attacked by another sword. Because most swords, like, people kind of get swords wrong. They kind of overthink swords. I always say, like, the sword and the bow and arrow are the most misunderstood weapons in the modern day. But, like, let's say, you know, somebody's coming here with this knife. This bar is supposed to catch it, kind of like a sai, and then you're supposed to be able to rip it out, disarming them. So, you know, It was just so cool. I just wanted to make a quick video on these. Um, Interestingly enough, um, I actually have a figure that has basically an action figure version of this sword. Right, like I bought the figure of Julie a long time ago. It came with all her weapons, um, but like I gave her a sword to a Darklon from GI Joe. I think that's crazy how like even a sword as crazy of a design as this, you know, I can have figures that actually have a sword with it too. It's so weird how like I actually kind of own weapons from both like action figures and video games. Like I think that's crazy. Uh, One of the other things I like about too is like this pommel also acts like kind of like a secondary grip. So you know you get a lot of force out of this. You can do a lot of damage with this thing. I don't think it's just a wall hanger. This is an older sword too. Like I think it came out in the 90s. I remember seeing this type of sword, online back in the 2000s, and I always thought I would own it too. That's the crazy thing, but I always loved the design too. Like I thought to myself like like I don't know about the hilt, but at least the blade design. The blade design is something I could definitely see like a modern gun company like Glock or Beretta or just any other modern gun company